Welcome to CSC 214 Introduction to Java. In this video, we're going to talk about getting started using Git. What is Git? Git's a version control system, often referred to as version control, revision control, or source control, used often for software projects, websites, or even proposal development, and it tracks changes to documents and who made them. Git was created by Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux, in 2005, and it's currently the most popular source code management tool. Now, the goal of using it in CSC 214 is to give you exposure to real-world tools and show you how it's really done, and also to help me grade your papers easier, your programs easier as you hand them in. So what is Git again? Git is a version control system. A version control system is a piece of software designed to keep track of the changes made to files over time. Git is a distributed version control system, which means that everyone working within a project has a complete copy of the history of the project, not just the current state of the files. Other source control programs like Visual Studio, Team Foundation version control do that. Why should we use Git? Well, we can undo our changes. When we make a mistake, we can roll back. We have a complete history of every change we make. We can document why we made these changes using commit messages. And we have the confidence to change anything. Additionally, there can be multiple histories through a feature called branching. In this course, we will be using GitHub Classroom. Git and GitHub are not the same thing. Git is the tool. GitHub is a place where you store your stuff. What is GitHub? GitHub is a web-based Git repository hosting service. Other types are Bitbucket, GitLab, Beanstalk, Microsoft DevOps. All those are other places where you can store your code. And GitHub has free and paid plans, and they're used for software code management. A lot of open source projects use GitHub. GitHub allows for collaboration with other people on a project, and it provides a centralized location to share Git repositories. It has a web-based interface to view contents, provides a nice GUI for forking, pull requests, issues, and wikis, which we'll talk about later, and allows you to specify, discuss, and review changes with your team more effectively. Why should we use GitHub? Well, you can document requirements. Using issues, you can either document bugs or specify new features. You can collaborate on independent streams of history using branches and pull requests. You can review work in progress by looking at pull requests. And you can see progress. Some of the key concepts we'll be encountering are the commit. A commit is when you save your changes to one or more files to history in Git. You create a new commit. Example, let's commit these changes and push them up to GitHub. It's kind of like saving. Every time you make a commit, you need to supply a message that describes why the change was made, and that's called the commit message. It's invaluable in trying to understand what you're doing later on. Make sure to include Susan's comment about the new SEC guidelines in the commit message. Then there's clone. Clone is how you get the code down to your machine. You want to download a copy of a project, so you say, could you clone a repo, fix the bug, and push it back? And here are the key concepts we'll encounter in this class. We'll encounter add, which is add a file to a repository. Branch, create a split branch in a repository. We won't actually use that much in this class. Clone, duplicate existing repository. Commit, snapshot changes in a repository. Pull, get the latest from the remote repository. Push, send it back. And tag, give name to a state given the repository. So, clone is when you create a repository on GitHub. It exists as a remote repository. You need to get it down to your PC, so you say git clone and you give it the name of the repository. Commit is an individual change to a file or set of files. It's like when you save a file, except with Git, every time you save it, it creates a unique ID that allows you to keep record of what changes were made, when, and by whom. Commits usually contain a commit message, which is a brief description. So it'd be git commit -m, fix the typo. Push refers to sending your stuff back to your remote repository, such as GitHub. If you change a bunch of stuff, just say git push and it'll send it back. Add, when working with your repository, you must tell Git about any new files. This is done with the add command. You can use wildcards, say git add all or git add period. A branch is a parallel version of a repository. You can create multiple branches if you want to try something without breaking old code. We're not going to talk a lot about branches in this class, but tag lets you name a branch. Pull pulls everything back. It fetches your stuff from get. It's shorthand for get fetch and get merge, which lets you merge changes together. So with all this in mind, we're going to do assignment 00. We're going to create a GitHub account. I'm going to send you an invitation from GitHub Classroom, and when you get it, you will follow the directions in the README.